Alright guys, so let's talk about fossils. Our learning goals today is to be able to describe the various types of fossils. And you'll know you've succeeded when you can differentiate or identify one type of fossil from another if we give you an example. Now, what is a fossil? Basically, it's the remains or impressions of a prehistoric plant or animal or bacteria, which is also really cool, embedded in rock, preserved in a petrified form, or basically just anything that's still around many years later. From fossils, we can learn a lot. We can learn about the anatomy of an organism. We can learn about behaviors, predator-prey relationships. What did they eat, and that sort of stuff. You can learn how specific individuals have died. Hey, it's really cool. Or, yeah, anyway, we'll keep moving on. So, there are four types of fossils we're concerned with. There are original fossils, replacement fossils, carbon film, and trace and indirect fossils. So, what's an original fossil? This, by the way, is a mammoth, a baby mammoth. It's part of the original organism that has been preserved. Usually the hard parts that don't get eaten, and proteins of the bones will usually decay, leaving just calcified minerals. This means they're usually really fragile. This for original fossils. Over here, though, we have a mammoth which was at one point frozen in the permafrost. And we can also have things preserved in peat bogs, mummies, mummified animals, etc., and humans often are found in peat bogs, and these are original fossils. So if we find a mummified organism, that is an original fossil. Then the ones that we're probably most commonly thinking about when we think of fossils, particularly when we think dinosaurs, and over here we have Archaeopteryx, which was our first link between birds and dinosaurs. We now know that all dinosaurs were birds. In fact, it's the other way around. All birds are called avian dinosaurs. So that's pretty sweet. So in a replacement fossil, part of the organism, or if you're really lucky, the whole thing, the whole skeleton, but it's part of the organism, usually bones or teeth, are mineralized, or they have their chemicals swapped out with chemicals in the surrounding soils. They're usually older than 60 million years. It takes a very long time for this to occur. And the calcium carbonate in the bones actually tends to swap place with the silicon dioxide, or other minerals, magnesium dioxide, stuff like that. So silicon dioxide, magnesium oxide, within the rocks. Bones then become solid rock. So often you'll see this bone sort of fossil, and you got to pick it up. And oh, it's really heavy. Carbon film. This is what coal is. Coal is a carbon film. Their organisms are usually made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And the carbon leaves a black, sooty layer. That should say occurs. So your carbon film occurs when the organisms decay. And they basically, if it's not taken up, they'll just leave that black layer there. It often shows really fine detail. And fine detail of the external features that aren't necessarily super hard, which we can see with this insect here that looks like a wasp or a bee. It's amazing. And finally, we have trace and indirect fossils. Over here, we have the Laetoli footprints from Tanzania. These were footprints of the very first hominid. You're a hominid, I'm a hominid. But these are our ancestors, our very first ancestors that we had evidence of them walking upright. And that's cool. So they're not part of an organism. Footprint, nest, feces, a burrow, middens, etc. Usually what we're looking at, though, is a mold in a powdery soil. And then it'll rain, and that'll turn it into a cement, and it'll harden, and it stays there for a long time. Internal molds of crustaceans also can be found, so what they look like on the inside. And human waste piles, middens, are trace fossils, which are really important to archaeologists. All right. I hope that made a lot of sense. And yeah, see you next time. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below and we'll get back to you as quick as we can. Thanks for watching. Bye now.